right. Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
And welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us all the way from Lambertville, New Jersey, Hope Dunbar.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
And looks like Connie is joining us right on time from Richfield.
Hey, Connie.
It must feel weird, Hope, for me to say from Lambertville, New Jersey, because this is like you just moved, right, from Nebraska to New Jersey recently.
I just moved and I am still getting used to it. It's been about 2 months, and I at least both states start with N. You know what I mean? So I got that going for me.
Well, here in Minneapolis and Minnesota, it's a beautiful day. It's like 62
Gorgeous.
outside. This is what I hear. I've not actually been outside. I have only seen it from my window.
I can
But
attest
the bots tell
it
me.
is gorgeous today. Another bonus weekend here.
Yeah, this is great. And looks like folks are joining the party. Joe, also in South Minneapolis. This is a perfect beverage, Joe. So he's having a JP, which is a John Prine, for those of you who don't know. Vodka and ginger ale. And this will be pertinent because although there is a song on this record that talks about John Prine. So we'll talk about John Prine a little bit later in the show. But and Chris is joining us with an Uda Pils Hells. Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it's so warm out. You want the kind of summery beer right now. Although I have to say, hi Joni. I have to say I am drinking because it is October. The Summit Oktoberfest from St. Paul, Minnesota. And I have to say, we only have a couple more days of October, which is weird because it feels like September or August right now.
You gotta get your beer in now, friend.
Exactly.
Make October count.
There's an expiration date, on these things,
So you got to move into the porters and the stouts.
I know, exactly. Which is my favorite beer time of year. But
hard pass. I'm a hard pass on that.
Really?
Yeah.
You like the light beers?
I mean, yeah, I like me an Oktoberfest. Pilsner all day long. Give me a lager. I'll pass on the you have fork and knife beers.
Nice. Well, Katie Dahl, one of our past guests and good friend, get your beer in now, friends. That's right. This is the time. Friday afternoon here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Tony, what are you drinking today?
I'm sticking with the fall theme as well. I've got the Ellie's Brown with my favorite little dog, brown ale dog here. From Colorado. It's one of my favorites.
Excellent. And Hope, what are you enjoying on your Friday?
I don't have a JP vodka and ginger ale. I have a whiskey and ginger ale.
Nice. That's a good choice.
Sipping that.
Well,
good
cheers.
Job.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
And cheers to all of you. If you're new to the program, Back Catalog Listening Party, we meet here every week and chat with our favorite artists about old albums. We sit back and we hear the stories behind the songs, kind of like reading the liner notes to an old album. So if you're out there, don't be shy. It's a conversation. Jump in the comments. Let us know where you are, maybe what beverage you're having. If you have questions for Hope, let us know as well, because the more interaction, the more fun it is.
And it looks like Lynn is zooming in from the swamp in South Carolina, drinking Prosecco. Sounds good to me.
Nice.
And well, I'm so excited to have Hope on the show because she's been on my list for a long time of folks that I want to nerd out about songwriting with, because she's a very prolific songwriter and a fabulous one. And I also haven't seen her in a long time, which is the other kind of beautiful thing about Back Catalog, is that we get to reconnect with old friends and maybe introduce us all to new old music. And for those of you, Hope, who are less familiar with your music, maybe you could give a brief bio, like where you grew up, how you got into songwriting, and what led up to this record we're going to talk about today.
Oh, thanks. Well, it's great to be here, and it's great to see you, Ellen. It's been a long time. It's been too long. So thank God for the internet. So yeah, my name's Hope Dunbar. I grew up in Southern California and then bounced around the Midwest most of my adult life. I described myself as a little late to the songwriting party. Didn't start writing songs till I was 30 years old. So making up for lost time is the name of the game at this point. I did a bunch of EPs before my first full-length record, Three Black Crows, that came out in 2017. Of course, that is the backest of Back Catalog. But I decided to just do what my beautiful heart said. So Three Black Crows came out in 2017. Super proud of that album, produced by our friend Emily White, who I love. And then in 2019, I went into the studio to do this record, Sweetheart Land. And whilst Three Black Crows is a very truly singer-songwriter album, I wanted to kick some ass. And so I decided to make this record and kind of get some grease on the wheels, sing louder than I felt previously comfortable singing, and just have some fun and put something down on tape that felt really awesome and powerful. And I think I did that.
Nice. And I agree. And I can't wait to listen to these songs with you because this album came out in 2021. So last year. But and we've talked about it. I interviewed you for my radio show about it, but I've not, seen you in person play live since this album has come out. So I haven't really gotten to dig into the songs a lot with you, and I can't wait to enjoy the music with you. So the album we're talking about is Sweetheart Land, came out in 2021.
Yep.
And let's dig into the music. The first song that you chose to feature today is called Dog Like You, which I'm really excited about. So this is kind of what you're talking about, kicking ass, right? I mean, this is kind of sassy. Is there anything you want to say about this song before we take a listen together?
I hope you like it. I'm really proud of this song. When you release a song, you have to choose some singles, and this did not make the cut for singles. So the songs I chose today, I felt like didn't get as much attention as other songs on the record. And so I wanted to, give the debutante her 5 minutes. So this is what we're doing.
Right on. All right, well, let's dig right in. This is Hope Dunbar, Dog Like You, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
1, 2, 3.
You had me wrapped up like cinnamon candy, wrapped up in your arms every night. And then you sent me to the moon and back, and you let me think that your loving would always be mine. And it was my mistake to give my heart away. It's true. And it was my mistake to give my heart away to a dog like you. Baby, you fooled me, yeah, you fooled me with your kisses, roses, and jewelry. You fooled me with the part you played. And then you broke me, yeah, you broke me. After all them sweet nothings you wrote me, you broke me when I found you gone today. And it was my mistake to give my heart away. It's true. Yes, it's true. broke me. Yeah, you broke me.
All right. Hope
man.
Dunbar with Dog Like You. What a way to kick off a Friday,
That was a
right?
groove, man.
It's a good happy hour song, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. And I have to say, you said that was like, a song that didn't make the single cut. And I have to say, it's been in high rotation in my library and I know on my radio show, but then again, I am not probably your typical radio DJ audience because I'll play a 5-minute song about a dog anytime.
Thank you.
So, of any variety.
With a guitar
Yeah.
solo. I mean,
Right?
you just don't get guitar solos anymore. It's like a rarity.
Yeah.
That sounded great.
Oh, thank
Sounds-
you.
And also, I have all these notes that I wrote down. But yeah, one was like the guitar, like the dobro sounds, the keys, the vocals, and really this harkens back to what Joe wrote in his comment, which is that talking about the groove harkens back to the soul of a Stax production. It does have that kind of classic.
Thank you.
Kind of the classic where like soul and country kind of meet, and
Yeah.
Well, this
like
is,
to me, like Shelby Lynn or some Dolly Parton, like it had that kind of feel to it.
oh, Ellen, you're so good. It's because you're listening to back catalogs every Friday. That's what made you so smart. Actually, this song originated as a Prompt Queen song. I mentioned I have a podcast. We might talk about that later in the show. But the prompt for that episode was to write a song that Dolly Parton might write. So the original version of this song is not what it sounds like now. I put it into the hands of Zach Smith and Jesse Thompson, who were my producers on this record. And I said, be the brain that I don't have. Help this song become what it needs to become. And they didn't hear Nashville. They heard like the Swampers, like they wanted something different. And it really, really, what Zach did and what Jesse did really made that song come alive. So it's Dolly and Stax together.
That's
Nice.
Well, and that's what's so cool is that, like, actually, if you listen to, there are a bunch of Dolly records where she, dives into that kind of pop and soul kind of feel. And I really is really, really getting that, especially with those harmony vocals. And I don't know who was singing back there. Was that you doubled up or?
I'm on it, but also Kashana Armstrong is on there and
Yes.
Shannon Labrie. So two amazing singer-songwriters in their own right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, since we're talking about Stax and the rhythm section, I'd love to know who is on that bass and drums because, man, that was a groove.
So our secret weapon, I think everybody was a secret weapon on this record, but we had a lot of members of Devin Gilfillian's band. So Taylor Thompson, Jesse's brother, was laying it down on bass. We had Dylan Napier, Margot Price's drummer, was on drums, and Zach played a lot. And Zach and Jesse shared lead on all the different stringed instruments.
Nice. Yeah, just a killer band all around.
Yeah. And so you said that song, the prompt was about writing a song that Dolly Parton would have written. And I'd love to know, is that how you do a lot of your songwriting, is through prompts? Or I also know you've done a lot of like commissioning of songs where people do that. Do you have a certain process, or is every song its own beast?
Every song's its own beast. Since we started the podcast back in 2019, we were really out on a mission to try to break past some people's blocks around the muse and inspiration, and really model that the well is never dry. There's always something available to us to write, and even prompts can create something that's really meaningful and true. That they don't have to feel like distanced, like exercises in songwriting, but that they can really be the meat and potatoes of what we want songs to do, which is like bust open our hearts and lay our guts on the floor. I mean, at least that's what I'm trying to do, right? So the podcast has really helped me expand my toolbox. And so I really find a lot of value in prompt writing. Is that the only thing I do? No. For most of my songwriting, I've been, when I'm crying, I'm like, I should write a song. I'm feeling everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's cool. I just something that I've been thinking about with prompts, is that sometimes it's nice to have some constraints.
Yeah.
I mean, you still have an idea you want to get out. You still have these things, but just to have some borders
100%.
to put it in, I think people underestimate the power of constraints.
Totally. I mean, the intimidation of a blank page where you have to make something out of nothing is almost overwhelming. So then you're like, okay, I don't have to make something out of nothing and literally nothing, but rather why not listen to some Dolly records and see what I could come up with, and to see what the B-side track would be to this, just for funsies.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny you say that, because last weekend I was at the Folk Alliance Regional Midwest Conference. And in fact, we did our broadcast from there with one of the artists. And that was one of the places where we really connected. It was at that conference several years back.
Yeah.
And I saw a panel that was the Wisdom Across the Ages panel, and it had songwriters from all different generations sort of giving their insights. And Joel Mabus was a part of it, members of the Accidentals, Alexa Dawson, and Susan Werner, who has also been a guest on Back Catalog. And she said, when people were asking her, like, how do you replenish your creative well? Like, what do you do when it feels dried up? And she said, well, so often you have a song and you're like, I'm going to beat it into submission and it's going to like do what I want it to do. And it like never works. Right. And she's like, she says, I just throw fun at it. 'Cause she compared the muse to a cat, like you can't make a cat go anywhere and you can't make the muse do what you want it to do. She's like, but if you throw like a ball of string, then the cat might, something good might come out of that. So, anyway, I love this idea that you're like, yeah, just kind of shake things up and make it fun. And in that spirit of fun, it looks, Joni had a comment where she said, so important in poetry and short story writing, that idea of a good prompt. But she also said earlier, I love ebullient breakup songs, which by the way is like the SAT word of the day.
Yes, Joni.
Yes.
PhD.
Yeah, for the win.
Yeah. Nice.
For the win.
I love it. Anyway, and if you're wondering what that means, it means cheerful. The cat just wants to chase the string. Oh, that's right. That was the quote from Susan Werner. Thank you, Katie. I knew someone would have that. For
I
me.
love that. I love that imagery, because that's 100% true.
Totally.
we got cats for the first time in many years, and that's 100% true.
100% true.
It is very true. And if you just tuned in, we're talking with Hope Dunbar here on the Back Catalog Listening Party, revisiting her album Sweetheart Land. It was released in 2021. But Hope, you had been sitting on it for a while. When did you actually record this record?
So I recorded this record. Great question. I recorded this record pre-pandemic in December of 2019.
Oh, boy.
And with the intention of releasing it that coming spring. Katie Dahl was my partner in crime. Our planned global takeover as songwriters was launching in March of 2020 when we went on European tour. And I had all of the CDs and I was ready to take over the world with this new album. And we were in Amsterdam for less than 24 hours when that pandemic hit and sent us all back home. Oof. To think about what we did. and so then we finished crying after 18 months, and I'm like, I guess I'll release the record now. I'm totally joking. So many CDs stuck in Amsterdam.
Yeah,
it's totally true.
Well, and I do remember seeing a bunch of live streams, because you weren't able to go back right away either. You were like stuck there trying to get back, and then also figuring out you had to quarantine. And I will say that I remember seeing some live streams that you were doing from the hotel just to like raise the money to like go back home, like to get another ticket to return back. And crazy times.
Crazy times.
So
So the timeline got stalled a little bit, obviously, and finally around the turn of 2021, I thought, I'm proud of this record. I could wait for the perfect time, or I could just decide the perfect time is now, and I can get it out. And so I'm really glad that I did that. Everybody's always like, when's the right time, especially after what we've lived through, right? But I wanted to send some music out into the world, and I really wanted to hit kind of in springtime, because I think a lot of this record is roll your windows down type music.
Yeah.
And I wanted to make sure that people had it for rolling the windows down type season. So
yeah, and
nice.
you could tell that you were living in Nebraska at the time, because it would not be, February. You're not a California gal, or not, or haven't been for a while, I should say.
Right, haven't been for the road. Right, exactly.
Yeah. Let's get back into the music, since I
roll
know
the windows
folks-
down.
Yeah,
Roll the windows
exactly.
down.
This is the day for it. I might have to stand up, maybe take this computer outside. The next song you picked is Evacuate. Is there anything you want to say about this before we take a listen?
I think that now the tone is going to shift. The volume is not. That's the end. That's the response.
Nice. All right.
Right.
So you keep your volume at the same level, folks, or maybe just turn it up a little
Keep
bit
it at
more.
11 and go for it.
This is Hope Dunbar with Evacuate here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
If I had $1, if I had $1, if I had a golden horseshoe, if I had a little luck, well, I'd find a ground floor window, a window with no pane, and I'd wait till they were sleeping, and at night I'd steal away, I'd steal away, I'd steal away. Well, I fumbled with the dishes, and I dropped the pecan pie. I watched the plate go into pieces, and I hung my head and cried. Not for what had been broken, but for what was broken deep inside. And I walked back to the cooler, and I cut another slice, I cut another slice. And the word for today, boys and girls, is a word going out to the whole damn world. And the word for today is kinda hard to pronounce. It's a fancy way to say, get out. The word for today is evacuate.
if I had a little luck.
All right. Hope Dunbar with Evacuate. And from her 2021 release, Sweetheart Land, which we are revisiting today on the Back Catalog Listening Party with Hope joining us from New Jersey. And yeah, everyone really digging the music. And Chris said, looking for her video of you recording this, visualizing a bit of emotion. And I would love to, yeah, get a little snapshot of like, because you were saying that on this album you really wanted to make sure you sang out and not just in a metaphorical way. You literally are like singing at a intense volume, and there's a lot of emotion that you can hear in your voice in that song. So I'd love to hear a little bit about what it was like to record that.
Yeah. The whole recording experience was absolutely magnificent. I mean, we played most of it all together live in the studio, and that was thrilling because I'd never done that before too much in the past, and so I was having kind of the time of my life, and peeling paint off the ceiling as much as I could. And I feel like with this song, I wanted to exhibit kind of a insistent rage, kind of intense, urgent feeling of wishing things were different or wishing that there were relief that was somehow out of reach. And I think that that's an emotion that a lot of us feel. I went through a real baseball bat phase where I just wanted to smash everything with the baseball bat. So sonically, I decided to smash everything with a baseball bat. And it was awesome. I loved it. In my real life, like I'm not in a superhero's cape. I'm in jeans and a t-shirt and a guitar. Like most of the time I play solo. I rarely have an ensemble, if anybody. And so my dream really is to be in a band and just burn things down. And if I could, like when I dream, what I love about this album is I just fantasize and dream about us being all in the same room someday and just burning it down just for the sake of doing it. I would really love to be in a rock and roll band, but I'm not. I'm just a singer with a guitar. And so,
well, you put it out in the universe now. You never know.
Yeah. And I think, this is a good time to mention that if you want to help support Hope so that maybe she can get to a point where she can, pay for have a band with her on the road and get the van and the whole deal. You can buy her music, which I recommend you do, because we're hearing this through the high res files before it goes to the YouTubes, and I have to say, it sounds freaking awesome on headphones. Really does. I've heard this record a lot, but not in this way. And
thanks, guys.
There's a lot of interesting sonic things happening that I think you'll pick up if you pick up the high-res files. I know she's got CD copies available. Apparently, there's a bunch in Amsterdam, too. Maybe you can get one of those. You can help them out with that.
I got them across the pond. I got them in my basement. They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Except maybe not in your home. So you want to pick one up and support Hope in her
move some units,
efforts.
People.
Yeah.
Move some units.
Well, yeah. We say this probably almost every week now, but one CD sale is like a year of Spotify plays. So come on now.
It totally is.
While we're on that topic, though, I would love to know. I mean, like a lot of times when we have people who are primarily, do the singer-songwriter thing, and that's their main gig, you'll hear them with a guitar or a piano, like right down the center, and then everything's around it. But what's striking about this recording is like your voice is right down the middle, and everything else is kind of built up around that. Are you even playing anything along with the band?
No, I kind of gave up my job as a guitarist. I said, I don't feel like I need to play. I'm not the best player in here. Like I would much rather give somebody that job so I can just focus on getting this song across as best I can.
Yeah, your vocals.
And I just wanted, like my dream was to have an ensemble that sounded like an ensemble, that sounded like they had the musical freedom to create and not feel like they needed to protect the singer-songwriter, right?
Right.
And so that's not exactly. I didn't need them to work around me. I thought, let's take the best of what I can do, which personally I think is my voice. Let's do what I can do best, and then let's do everybody else's best, and come up with something that, again, my brain doesn't have in it. Like I can only hear it with me and a guitar.
Well, it's striking, actually, like what that does sonically, and another reason to get this, and listen to it in stereo, because it really does elevate the voice, and everybody else's role is just complementing in like the coolest ways, and they're
Cool.
playing off each other in the background. But it's a kind of a rarity in these records for someone to give up whatever it is they're doing, they're normally doing, and let the voice speak. So very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I would love to know, you talked about recording it all live, and often when bands record live together, the lead person often, unless, might be doing a scratch track or something like that, and then they go back and record the vocals. But given that you weren't playing, these are like the live takes you're singing?
Most of what you hear is the live takes. There were a few things we punched in after the fact, but most of what you hear on this record is just me singing with the band.
Nice.
I love that. And I think that is the key to like this amazing vocal performance you got, because your energy level is up there. Because I think sometimes what happens in a studio, at least from my experience being in the studio, is that sometimes if you're going back later, even if there's this amazing accompaniment with the band, it's easy to just like, the energy isn't the same when you're in a booth by yourself. But if you're there with the band, you're kind of carried away in the moment. And
the nuances of the rhythm shifts and the dynamic shifts and stuff like that. Like there's no way to recreate that unless it's a conversation that is happening in real time.
And I have to say, I haven't done 15 records. This was my, fun fact, I did 2 records in 2019. There's another record that nobody's heard about, but still filled up in my basement. So get me back on in a year. But this was my 3rd studio record, and I still had a lot to learn. And this record was really an education. Like it was a discovery session. It was like digging up dinosaurs. It was so much fun, but it was also an education in what I want to do for next time. So I give so much credit to my producers, Jesse Thompson and Zach Smith of Smoothhound Smith, for being awesome collaborators and awesome guides and buddies, and just creating a wonderful environment for these songs to come alive.
And where did you find those folks, and where was this recorded? Are they part of the studio? How did you get this ensemble together?
Jesse and Zach really put the roster together, we went in for pre-production a couple of times down in Nashville before we started recording. We got a really great idea of what we wanted to accomplish, and they kind of put the people in place where we needed them, and it was awesome.
So this was cut in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, really, really good.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
And Joni says there's a bit of before he cheats baseball bat to the car feel. Getting back to your earlier comment about taking a baseball bat to everything. So I think it's so great to hear. When I first heard this record, having heard you live and hearing 3 Black Crows, which is a beautiful record, but is definitely a softer, more intimate record, right? And hearing these songs, I was like, and I knew you could sing like that because I've seen you live. But I have to say, hearing this record, I was like, Hope isn't messing around. That was my first thought and it's funny because it's called Sweetheart Land, which I would love to talk to you about the title, because I feel like Sweetheart Land, if you just heard that title, you might think it's like, sweet kind of maybe country folk. Sweet record. And I feel like there's a lot of edges to this album. So not just sonically, but like in the lyrics. So why did you call it Sweetheart Land? Great
question. I came up with the title before I did the record, I'll tell you that. And I knew I wanted it to be Sweetheart Land. First, because if you haven't seen the image, it's all one word, Sweetheart Land, all together. Sweetheart, Heartland. And I'm really proud of that. And I feel like it is exactly the right word, because Sweetheart Land, knowing me as the artist, I'm not 22, right? Like it's not a first love type of Sweetheart Land. This is a place where you've lived for a while. And the longer you live in a place, like you see the cracks and you see the dark spots and you see what hurts. And Sweetheart Land might look beautiful from the exterior, but the longer you live there, the more you understand this is a complicated place, man. And that has got nothing to do with Nebraska or the plains of Nebraska. It's got everything to do with the longer you're alive on this planet, you'll be in the Sweetheart Land where what you thought it was isn't exactly what you thought it was. And what are you going to do about that? Like, hopefully you stay dwelling on the land. And that's kind of what maybe the overarching story is, that you stay, like you live through this thing called life and love the good parts. And maybe you rage at the bad parts. And so what?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, human life, it's about human life.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, amen to that. I think you capture a lot of that. And yeah, Gary's saying really cool artwork. So
Yeah,
who
talk-
did the
talk a little bit
artwork?
about that? Yeah.
Well, I knew I wanted it to look like a tattoo, so I did a cold call to a tattoo artist in Lincoln, Nebraska.
No
And I
way.
made an appointment as though I were getting a tattoo because I didn't know how to contact him. I'm like, I'll just show up. And then I'll say, actually, I don't want a tattoo. Will you do some album art for me?
How did that go?
It actually went awesome.
Nice.
It was like the best blind date ever because I sprung this idea on him. And he's like, dude, I have always wanted to do album artwork. I'm like, you're welcome.
That is awesome, and it looks. I mean, like if you look at the picture, it looks like I see texture of like paper or something in there.
Yes.
Was this done on paper and then just photographed?
It was done on paper and then photographed.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
I wanted it to be, you know, I wanted it to look older, and I knew that I wanted a kind of a vintage tattoo. And then later on, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna get that tattoo on my human body. I'm like, no, I'm not. But I did get a tattoo by the artist.
Oh,
No way.
wow. Look at that.
Oh,
that's
that's badass.
amazing.
So it's
Yeah.
like the album artwork, but it's not the album.
From the same artist.
Yeah.
What a
Oh,
great
that's great.
story. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
That's wonderful. And Joe says Sweetheart Land does have a lot of great images and alluring scenes. And yes, there are, you know, a lot of your songs have a very kind of storybook element to them. They're like little short stories. And I am excited to get to this next short story, Woman Like Me. Is there anything you want to say about it before you take a listen?
You're gonna hear Kashana. You're gonna hear Kashana and Shannon rocking out to some kick-ass background vocals on this one again. And this is a recut of a song that I had put this on a very early album that I made, and I knew I wanted to redo it. So this is the second incarnation of Woman Like Me.
All right. Hope Dunbar, Woman Like Me, on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
I'm good at babies, good at men. I'm good at carrying both of them and then crying my eyes out with the sheets drawn, a little bruised, but I ain't beat. And these years, they have changed me, but I roll up my sleeves and I press on, and I'll give what I have till it's gone. And a woman like me sings the prettiest songs. I was a beauty, I was a flower, but only for an hour, in a white dress, in a churchyard west of Lincoln. Oh, and 18 ain't forever. And now I can't remember when these curves and these lines began to sink in. Call me a rose whose first bloom is gone. But a woman like me sings the prettiest song.
Oh man, Hope Dunbar, Woman Like Me,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, those amazing harmony vocals, soulful vocals. Kashona Armstrong, one of them,
So good.
who was a guest on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Oh,
So amazing. And yeah, so that song, which it feels like that song should have always been recorded that way. I don't know how it was recorded the first time. Was it just more pared down or?
it's one of my earliest songs. It's been around for a really long time, and the first time I did it, the first record that was on, it was an EP called Woman Like Me, no longer accessible on the internet for the right reasons. Yeah, honestly, and I'd never recorded anything, so I did it all by myself. I played everything, and it was a real trial and error. I mean, I pulled it off for not knowing anything about how to do it, but it wasn't right, and it needed a little more love and care than I was able to give it back then. So I knew I wanted to put it on this one again.
That's so great. And Katie Dahl said, and I'm so glad she pointed out because it is one of the best first lines ever.
It
Can
really is.
can you say that line again for those who missed it?
Sure. I'm good at babies. I'm good at men. I'm good at carrying both of them. And then crying my eyes out with the shades drawn.
Yeah. When I was prepping for the show, like I had that exact same thought, Katie. I was like, oh my God, that is the best first line ever.
Thank you.
So good.
And that's one of those lines. I don't know where the song started with, but I feel like that, like if one started with a line like that, I feel like it can really set the stage for a song. Is that where the song started, or did it start somewhere in the middle?
Nope. That was the first lines I wrote. And it kind of it had some incarnations. This is a song that, you remember certain songs in your catalog and you remember how they came to be. And this is a song that I'm a pretty fast writer. And I kind of have a pretty good intuition so that when I write during a session, it's either done, it's either really close, or it's not there at all. And so I don't go back and do a hell of a lot of editing for most of my stuff. Like I might do a tweak here, tweak there. This is one that it was over the course of many months that I loved it, and I knew that there was something wrong and I had to fix it. And I kept bringing it to people and working on it and trying to rewrite verses. So this one was kind of a fish I was fighting for a while. And so finally, when it got to a place where I liked what I had, that was remarkable because at that time in my songwriting, I didn't have very many other songs like it that had taken that long and that much like sweat and tears and patience to stay with it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it paid off because that song is a
you.
powerful song, and I'm so glad that you recorded it so we could all enjoy
Thank
it.
you.
Given that the old version is not really available, so
Yeah, and that does
but
feel like its native form somehow.
I think it's right where it should be.
Yeah, and Joe was saying some Aretha in there, part Loretta Lynn.
All
Pretty
right.
cool writing. I can hear both of those things, and if you want to get the incarnation of this song and all these amazing songs we're listening to today, you can get a physical copy of this album. Help clear out Hope's house.
Yep.
She just had to move all those CDs from Nebraska to
my
New
gosh.
Jersey.
Oh my
That
God.
can't be easy.
She would
Not
love
right.
to clear out some space and give the CD a home in your home. You can also get, of course, the high-res files. It is on all the digital places as well. But you want to get, again, the high-res version of these because these songs sound amazing.
Yeah.
And I should also mention that if you are tuned into Back Catalog Listening Party, that this is the show where we invite different guest artists to revisit old records with us and talk about them. And if you have comments, questions for Hope or any of us on the show, or comments about the songs, feel free to throw them in there. And if you like what you hear, this show is supported by a wonderful Patreon community. And if you want to partake of that, you can, we'll post a link as to how to do that. And one of the things we offer is special private after parties with some of our guests. And today is going to be one of those days. So if you join the Patreon, you can, we'll make sure you get a little invite to today's party after the show. But right now the show is still going on and we got lots of music to hear. So the next song you picked to feature is called The Road Is. Is there anything you want to say about the song?
The road is. This song got me in. This is a song that had me as a third-time finalist to the Kerrville New Folk songwriting contest down in Kerrville, Texas. I am thrice, what do they call it?
Bridesmaid.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Finalist. Yeah.
I mean, what they call it. I'm a runner-up, right? I'm in Club 7. There are 6 winners every year, and everybody else ties for 7th. I'm a 3-time 7th place finalist.
But I'm sure that equals like at least 3rd or 2nd place then.
Yeah, because you're submitting different songs like every year. So that's like actually kind of an amazing feat.
6
right?
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So, and for those of you who don't know, the Kerrville New Folk Contest, I mean, the finalists are like some of the people who've never won who are finalists are like big artists who are now big artists. So, I mean, it is a real boon to be invited. And when when you're a finalist, you actually get to perform at the festival in front of a big audience. And it's one of those things that like folk, like DJs and other promoters, that if they see you were a finalist in Kerrville New Folk, they're like, oh, like they're legit songwriters. So
Thank you.
Thank you. You get some spin. So this song was one of those.
This is a Kerrville New Folk finalist song from 2018.
All right, let's give it a listen. Hope Dunbar, The Road Is, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
What's there for you when you've come undone? And will not judge when it's time to run. What's there when life feels limitless? The road is. What's there to be the remedy? After too many days in captivity, the balm to heal your restlessness. The road is where the hitchhiker thumbs for a lift, the long haul trucker pays his bills with it, where the wife with the black eye places all her chips. The road is the epilogue to a goodbye kiss, the backdrop to the hero's quest, the pilgrim's permanent address. The road is, the road is. Where will an angel stop and hippie change a flag? What's better than whatever's in your past? Powered by caffeine and promises. The road is. What's the only place full of signs for those brave enough to make that drive? What's your last best shot before the hurricane hits? The road is where the hitchhiker thumbs for a lift, the long haul trucker pays his bills with it, where the wife with the black eye places all her chips. The road is the epilogue to a goodbye kiss, backdrop to the hero's quest, the pilgrim's permanent address. The road is, the road is.
That was Hope Dunbar. The Road Is here on the back catalog listening party from her 2021 release, Sweetheart Land, which we are revisiting today on the back catalog listening party because, she wasn't really able to tour this record in the traditional sense.
Right.
So it definitely warrants a revisiting because as anyone everyone's digging the songs. And I will say that each song has had lots of interesting thoughts and comments and questions. And this is just a snapshot of the record because I can't remember how many tracks are on this album.
It's a 9-track album.
Yeah. So there's like twice as many tracks on the record. And one of them, which I have to mention only because we referenced it at the top of the show, especially for Joe out there drinking a John Prine, that she has a song called John Prine. Yes. And cheers. And since John Prine's birthday was just a few weeks ago, would have been his 76th birthday. And I was doing a little John Prine tribute on my Women Folk radio show. And I had to we of course played covers of Prine songs, but we had to play your song,
Nice.
Hope,
Thank
John
you.
Prine, because it's such a, and that has another really great line. Was it John Prine, I wish your songs were mine. I wish I could steal one of your lines.
And no one would know.
No one would know. And I love it. It's like one of my favorites. So
You can listen to that track if you hop on over to hopedunbarmusic.com.
That's right.
Pick up the physical CD. I bet you Hope would sign it and write you a little note. We saw a note earlier from David, I believe, who was saying he wanted to be able to say hello. He said it was easy to purchase the CD but there wasn't a contact button. So, I think it's a direct contact here. Hope will just say hello to you when you buy one of her CDs.
Yeah, well, David's came through. I just saw another order come through. It popped up on my little screen from David. Wait, we already said David. You understand. Thank you. I'll write you a note from the back catalog listening party.
Awesome. And like we said earlier, this goes a long way to actually lining the pockets of artists is actually buying their CDs. They have a ton of them in their house. It's kind of a joke that they want to get them out of their house. But after all the production costs and all those things are done, the CD can actually add some real value to artists as they continue to tour, fill their gas tanks up. So head on over to hopedunbarmusic.com, grab this CD, grab everything else. I saw some other merch on your website as well, Hope, and let her know how much you appreciate what she's doing.
Yes,
Yeah,
please and thank you.
Yeah, and also, I just saw my first holiday ad on TV.
Ooh.
And so, it's never too early to start doing that shopping.
Now we're part of the problem, Ellen. You understand?
Hey, supporting good music and artists is never a problem.
Never a
Not here on
problem.
back catalog listening party.
You're right.
If it means we call it Christmas all year, I don't really care. But
It could be a Halloween present. Halloween is next
John
next
Prine's
Monday.
birthday, whatever
That's
it might
right.
be. So I do want to mention that in addition to, of course, getting Hope's album at her website, you can also check out her tour dates. And she doesn't have a lot on the calendar, staying pretty close to the Northeast to her New Jersey where she lives. But if you are in the New York area, she'll be at Rockwood Music Hall, great venue, playing with Rigby Summer and Shannon Dress. So a great lineup on November 14th.
That's
so
right.
you can check that out on her website. Also, she'll be showcasing at the Northeast Regional Folk Alliance. Last week we broadcast from the Midwest Folk Alliance, but Hope will be playing at the Northeast one in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And before we came on today, we were joking about all the songs that people are going to play in tribute to Asbury Park. The boss.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Springsteen.
And maybe John Gorka, I was saying, you never know.
That's right.
So in any event, you can check out all her details. And I'm guessing, do you have an email list too that folks can sign up for to find out about stuff? Or they can follow you on socials. I know you're there.
Socials, and I would be more than happy to let you know what I'm about.
And like we mentioned earlier, she's got a great podcast, Prompt Queens. You can download it.
Prompt, right? Prompt.
Oh,
Prompt
sorry,
Queens.
Prompt.
Yeah.
All right, here we're gonna edit that really quick. This is the miracle of technology here. Okay, let me try that again. Take two.
Yeah, there we are.
You got to check out Hope's podcast.
Check it
Prompt
out.
Queens. This is live, though, by the way. But
It is.
anyways, you get the idea. Prompt with the T, Queens, wherever you get your podcast. Get it, check it out, write songs along with you. So tell me, like, what's the format there? Are people able to kind of submit what they do to you, or how does that work?
We have had listener submission episodes in the past. We haven't had one in a while. I co-host Prompt Queens with my sister-in-law, also fellow songwriter, Emily Dunbar. And together, each week, we give ourselves a prompt. We go off into our corners and write a song, and then we come back on the air and play them for the first time for the listener and for each other. And then we kind of talk about the writing process, and we're always surprised at getting the prompt. And I'm just convinced we'll have written about the same song and we'll have taken it in two completely different directions. So we're trying to invite people into a realm of creativity, to give themselves the gift of making and creating, to be the artist in their neighborhood and to make cool shit. Make cool stuff.
We support that stuff.
Do it. We have a link in the comments, folks. Go click on that link and subscribe. Give it a listen, and go make some cool shit with Hope.
We try to keep the bar real low, so people are like, well, if those girls can do it, anybody can.
I think anyone listening to the show today knows that you're no slouch, and I've heard Emily, and she's no slouch. So
she's no slouch.
Exactly. So you can check that out. And I want to thank Hope for joining us today on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Thank you.
The best hour.
So fun.
So fun. And so fun to see all of you out there listening. If you liked the show and our conversation and the music, then like it on YouTube. Direct all the bots to Hope Dunbar. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And so you get notified about who our next guest will be. And it's not always Hope Dunbar, sadly, but it's always someone great. And you can check that out. And if you want to get more involved with the Back Catalog Listen Party, again, you can join our Patreon. These are the folks that have kept us going since March of 2020.
Nice.
These folks, what we thought would be a couple weeks, turned into an ongoing project. So here we are because you support it, and that's why we're here. And if you hadn't kept supporting it, we might not have gotten to Hope Dunbar. So thank goodness.
Right. And who else? We appreciate you so much.
Penny, Anna, Linda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, and John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Court, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead, Pick and Pro, Severin, Lynn, Craig, Jake, Mary, Many Tracks, and Nikki, and maybe you. And if you subscribe to our Patreon, you can get invited to cool shit, like an after party with Hope Dunbar, which is what we're going to do in just a minute here.
Yeah,
but
with a song we didn't get to, right?
That's right.
Exactly. Bonus song.
Yeah.
Bonus song. And and we're gonna talk about all the cool stuff. So you can join us there. But mainly just thank you for being a part of the show. Because this show is all about this, getting together, listening to music in real time, talking with artists, and talking with you. So it wouldn't be the same if it was just, me, Tony, and Hope would have fun for sure.
It's a
you guys
whole
make it
community.
more interesting and bring up things that we hadn't thought of. So this is what makes it cool. So thank you for tuning in today, and it's have a great weekend. A good Halloween. For whatever
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, we'll see most of you next Friday, and we'll see the rest of you momentarily for the after party. Until then, cheers. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.